Good evening, our viewers here in Nairobi and across the country. Thank you very much for choosing KUTV and welcome to KUTV News at 9 tonight. I'm Corazon Safan. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines tonight. Church representatives come to IEBC defense calling for constitutional procedure. CS Matiang'i revises school calendars to curb exam cheating. James Wafula, who hanged on the Bungoma chopper, now charged with endangering lives. And in sports, Liverpool are set to go head-to-head with Sevilla in the UEFA Europa League finals tonight. The National Council of Churches in Kenya, that is the NCCK, has supported the move to disband the IEBC through the Supreme Court. Led by the Council's Secretary General Peter Karanja, the clergy met with the embattled IEBC commissioners together with the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops today in a meeting to determine the way forward. The church representatives have opposed the use of demonstrations and recommended a dialogue by all stakeholders to avoid creating tension across the country.
As the IEBC stalemate heats up, the IEBC chairman Isaac Hassan has refuted a statement he made yesterday that the commissioners will rather go to prison than resign on a basis of unproven accusations.
The commissioners hold this office, their offices by virtue of the Constitution, and as we have said in our last press conference, we will continue to discharge our duties and we will not resign. I didn't say the commissioners want to go to jail. So I think sometimes you will report what we say in meetings.
The National Council of Churches in Kenya, NCCK, together with the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, led by Peter Karanja, have joined the conversation, sharing a stand with the IEBC that the law and dialogue is the proper way to remove the commissioners.
And have taken their answer. They would not resign their positions. They would challenge protagonists around IEBC to follow the due process of law. Agreeing with the Commission, elections are just around the corner.
Isaac Hassan, however, stated that the push for the postponing of the election date to December or March is baseless, since the Commission is ready to conduct the next general election.
The country should be assured, Kenya, that elections will take place as scheduled on 8th of August next year. The Commission is prepared for the election.
They have further insisted that they are ready to engage with all stakeholders who want to have a dialogue to see the end of the IEBC debate. Irene Mwangi, KUTV.
And that development on the IEBC stalemate leads us to our viewpoint question tonight, and we ask you, do you support NCCK's call for dialogue to end the IEBC stalemate? Do you support NCCK's call for dialogue to end the IEBC stalemate? Talk to us on our SMS number 22766, our Twitter handle @_KUTV, and our Facebook page as well, which is KUTV. While the stalemate over the disbandment of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission continues to heat up, leaders allied to the Jubilee from various parts of the country have criticized the opposition in what they term as unconstitutional manner of conduct. The leaders are urging their opponents to seek legal means of disbanding the electoral body instead of protests.
The weekly anti-IEBC protests scheduled to happen every Monday by the opposition have sparked reactions from some leaders allied from Jubilee, who are now accusing the core principles of misusing the youth in the country. Speaking in Naivasha, Nakuru County Governor Kinuthia Mwangi termed the demonstrations as shameful and uncalled for, saying that the opposition should follow the stipulated laws in disbanding the commission.
Mtu mdogo akifunja sheria anashikwa mara moja anafungwa. Isiwe watu wakubwa akifunja sheria kama constitution hawashikwi. That is not acceptable.
Elsewhere, Riru MP Esther Gadhogo has also criticized the opposition for the weekly protests, saying that they are taking advantage of the youth.
Kama anataka IEBC itoke kwa kiti, ama hiyo timu yote itoke. Haitatoka akiwa kwa barabara, akikimbia hivi anaweka nchi yetu tension.
Still on the same note, Kapenguri MP Samuel Moroto has criticized the move by KANU official Nick Salat for joining Monday's protest, saying it is against the KANU Jubilee Memorandum of Understanding. He has also condemned the inhuman acts exhibited by police, adding that Kenyans have a right to peacefully protest. The CORD coalition has been calling for the resignation of IEBC commissioners in the run-up to the next general elections for what they term as intent of rigging the next election in favor of Jubilee. Bella Masanya, KUTV.
Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero's personal assistant John Osogo today took the stand to deny the allegations of both his and his boss's involvement in the 200 million shillings bribery of Supreme Court Judge Philip Tunoi. He called Joffrey Kiplagat's allegations far-fetched and claimed that the messages displayed in court were taken out of context.
Evans Kidero's personal assistant John Osogo today took to the stand to address allegations of his involvement and knowledge of the 200 million shilling bribery of Supreme Court Judge Philip Tunoi. Osogo deemed the allegations as far-fetched and denied ever meeting Joffrey Kiplagat at Kengele's in Lavington along with businessman Mike Njeru. In regard to the messages displayed in court to implicate the businessman Mike Njeru and the Nairobi governor, as well as the messages mentioning the two ladies who were named in the affidavit, Osogo claimed that they were taken out of context and referred to innocent conversations. This follows the testifying of Mike Njeru, who was also called to the stand to explain why Kiplagat, whom he considered an ally, would turn against him by mentioning him as a co-conspirator in the bribing of the Supreme Court judge overruling in favor of Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero concerning an election petition filed against him by the current Kabete MP, Ferdinand Waititu. Others mentioned by Kiplagat and expected to testify are Kidero himself and lawyer Katwa Kigen. The tribunal may, however, be deemed unessential if the Court of Appeal on Friday next week supports the High Court finding that Tunoi should have retired at 70. Amanda Moniki, KUTV.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has today signed into law the Private Security Industry Regulation Bill. This law will seek to provide for a framework for cooperation between private security companies and national security organs. Another bill signed into law is the Political Parties Amendment Act 2016.
For a long time now, the security guards in the country have been working under questionable conditions. But now they can have a sigh of relief as President Uhuru Kenyatta has signed the Private Security Regulation Bill into law. The law seeks to, and I quote, provide for a framework for cooperation between private security companies and national security organs, end of quote. The objective of the act is to, and I quote, provide for a framework of regulation of private security services industry in accordance with the values and principles set out in the Constitution. End of quote. The law further calls for the registration of all security firms, training of its personnel, and proper remuneration for all private security guards. The law will also provide for guidelines for foreign ownership and control of business operating as a security service provider. A private security regulatory authority will be established whose headquarters will be in Nairobi. The authority shall ensure reasonable access of its services in all parts of the country. The authority will, and I quote, set standards, create an enforcing mechanism, improve personnel welfare, and offer redress from unscrupulous players, end of quote. The authority will further be governed by a board consisting of a chairperson appointed by the President. President Kenyatta also signed into law the Political Parties Amendment Act of 2016. Present during the signing were the Speaker of the National Assembly, Justin Muturi, Attorney General Githu Muigai, Majority Leader in Parliament, Aden Duale, and Clerk of the National Assembly, Justin Bundi. Nancy Okware, KUTV.
Thank you very much, Keluki, for that report. Remember our conversation tonight. We are asking if you support NCCK's call for dialogue to end the IEBC stalemate. Talk to us on our SMS number 22766, our Twitter handle @_KUTV, and our Facebook page as well, which is KUTV. We have Fontaine Lopez from Mombasa who says, yes, because sometimes diplomacy is the best way forward. Demonstrations should have been the last resort. KUTV News now takes a short break, but keep it right here and keep talking to us on our conversation tonight. We'll be right back. Welcome back and thank you very much for keeping it KUTV. The government has banned midterm break for schools during the third term for both primary and secondary schools. There will also be no visitings or prayer days or any other social activities during the third term, according to the Education Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i. This is in a bid to curb exam cheating.
The third term is the shortest term of the school calendar. It is also the month that students sit for their final examinations, awaiting to join the next class. The second term, on the other hand, is usually the longest. In a new change of dates in the school calendar announced today by Education Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, the third term will become even more shorter, with it expected to commence on the 29th of August and end on the 28th of October for all non-candidates. Therefore, the learners will only be in school for approximately 1 month.
All head teachers are instructed, and our county directors of education will follow this up to ensure that there are no social activities or any other activities that will be destructive to our candidates. Annual general meetings, parents' days, mass prayers for candidates in schools are not going to happen. Any of those activities should happen before we close the second term.
The second term, on the other hand, has been extended by another week. Initially, the term was due on the 5th of August, but now will come to an end on 12th of August. Some of the parents managed to talk to had this to say on the new term dates.
I think the Cabinet Secretary has taken the right decision based on academics. He has taken the right decision because if you look at last year, there was interruption of the school calendar by, I think, around almost the same margin.
Students, on the other hand, had varied reactions.
What Honorable Matiang'i has done, it may sound unfair to some students, but according to me, it's really good because it's going to help us to spend more time in school rather than spending more time at home. For a normal student who is serious with her academic work, I think 2 weeks are enough for a rest, for a brain rest.
The dilemma now lies on the parents as they ponder whether there will be an increase in the fee structure, given that the schools had already budgeted for the school terms. The new measures are expected to reduce exam cheating, while at the same time provide the students with a conducive environment to prepare for their examinations. Milia Kisenya, KUTV.
Parliamentarians asked to push for the bill to allow government to supply sanitary towels. Fatuma Kinsey, the immediate former founder member of the Pastoral Girls Initiative, wants the funds meant for sanitary towels in the Ministry of Education to be channeled through the Affirmative Action Social Development Fund. She also urged sponsors to support the program because it is costly in nature and the parents remain vulnerable.
Immediate former founder member of the Pastoral Girls Initiative, Fatuma Kinsey, wants funds meant for sanitary towels in the Ministry of Education to be channeled through the Affirmative Action Social Development Fund. She added that the Ministry of Education has several kitties to take care of, and procurement of the sanitary towels takes too long. Kinsey, who is aspiring to be a Garissa women representative, urged other sponsors to support the program because it will be too economical to the government. Moreover, she said lack of sanitary towels lead to absenteeism and failure in national examination.
Since this is a girl issue and the women's rep role is to stand for the women and the girls, I feel the sanitary towel project should be under the Affirmative Action Fund.
In 2014-2015, government allocated 4 billion to Women Representative Kitty through the Devolution Ministry, where each constituency was to receive 7 million each. The Social Development Fund targets youth women and disabled persons, whereby it's chaired by the former nominated MP Sophia Noor.
The demolition exercise of condemned buildings in Huruma Estate, Nairobi, continued into the second day as some affected residents turned into making money from the rubble. One out of the 200 buildings earmarked for demolition was brought down today in the exercise jointly undertaken by the Lands Ministry, Nairobi County, the National Construction Authority, and the Office of the President. This move comes weeks after a building collapsed in Huruma Estate, where several lives were lost and many were injured.
The demolition of unfit building in Nairobi suburbs entered its second day today at Mathare, where a 6-storied building was brought down. Over 200 structures have been earmarked for demolition, and the government has shown no relent despite building occupants crying foul play in the operation.
The number of buildings which will go down, starting from where we are, this location, I just thank the people who have volunteered to vacate the buildings, paving way for demolition, because the buildings are unsafe. As you heard, that safety begins with me and you, and I just appeal to the public to cooperate with this activity, because whatever happens, it affects you directly or indirectly.
The government announced the demolition of all unfit structures following the collapse of building in Huruma that claimed 51 lives and 70 unaccounted for. However, the demolition might have come at the right time to some. Other estates awaiting bulldozers are Roysambu, Hazina, Zimmerman, Kahawa West, Umoja and Dagoretti, where some of the 226 houses in Nairobi are marked for destruction. Anna Macharia, KUTV.
The First Lady Margaret Kenyatta has expressed strong optimism that the current global momentum to protect wildlife is unstoppable. The First Lady said this when she presided over the official opening of the Global Wildlife Conference in Nairobi today. The three-day conference is aimed at sensitizing the locals on the importance of community involvement in wildlife conservation. This comes days after President Uhuru Kenyatta led the nation into burning over 105 tons of ivory in a bid to curb poaching.
First Lady Margaret Kenyatta has challenged Kenyans to change wildlife conservation strategies by involving local communities who coexist with the animals. Speaking today when she opened the Global Wildlife Conference in Nairobi, Margaret emphasized on the importance of wildlife conservation.
As indigenous communities become more actively engaged in conservation, their knowledge becomes more central to our strategy building. I'm convinced that the movement to protect animals will be unstoppable.
The three-day event is being attended by representatives from other countries, United Nations agencies, donors, non-governmental organizations, academic experts and conservationists to share their experiences on the success involving local communities in the conservation efforts.
Our work to reduce threats from illegal wildlife trade goes beyond developing alternative livelihood options.
However, the Kenya Country Director for World Bank Group, Ms. D. Guy, agreed the First Lady that the recent torching of elephant tusks and rhino horns by President Kenyatta had sent the strongest statement that animals were more valuable when alive than dead. Kelvin Ogome, KUTV.
Kissy County health authorities have spelled out dangers of skipping vaccination against measles and rubella as primary schools were today turned into immunization centers. The authorities hastened to clarify that the vaccines were safe and crucial in averting deaths and disabilities in the children. Simon Maina with the details.
Launching the national immunization exercise for the county at Kissy Primary School, the member of Executive Committee in charge of health, Sarah Omache, announced consequences in store for children who missed the vaccination.
I want to encourage that we do not fear at all that this vaccination is not safe. Today here we had a World Health Organization representative who has assured us that the immunization being done is so useful to all our children. It's better prevention than cure.
He added that over 600,000 children in and out of school within 9 months and 14 years were targeted. Omache also remarked that the figure would be surpassed in 1 week exercise owing to adequate vaccines, stakeholder support, and competent health staff. Health experts used the occasion to sensitize the children on the ongoing guinea worm eradication campaign, disclosing a 100,000 shillings prize for whoever will report the case for medical attention. Simon Maina, KUTV.
Prevention is indeed better than cure. A family of a senior military officer is seeking justice at the Malindi Law Courts over the sudden death of their son who died in unclear circumstances at the Medina Palms Hotel in Watamu, July last year. In Bungoma County, the man dubbed James Wafula Bond has today been charged before Bungoma Magistrates Court with the offense of endangering the lives of the occupants of the chopper and himself respectively. For this and more, JC Rogers with the details.
Saleh Wanjala, alias James Wafula Bond, is in trouble with the law, and you can guess why. He was charged today morning before Bungoma Magistrates Court with the offense of endangering not only his life while hanging from the chopper, but those of the occupants of the chopper. Appearing before Bungoma Principal Magistrate Stephen Onsiere Mugute, James Wafula Bond pleaded not guilty to the charges read to him. He was released on a free bond only to be back on Friday when the case will be mentioned again before proceeding to a full hearing.
Mimi ninasikitika sana kwa idara ya polisi kuchukua yule kijana alipanda ndege hadi wanampeleka kotini. Wakati ndege ilitua hapo, maafisa wa polisi walikuwa na jukumu ya kulinda hiyo ndege na kulinda watu ambao walikuwa katika hiyo matanga.
A middle-aged man was today arraigned in Cabinet Law Courts for giving false information to police over a suspected Al-Shabaab attack. The accused Pius Kiplagat from Baringo North is alleged to have given false information to police that suspected Al-Shabaab were training in the forest of Katimok, ready to attack the county government offices along with the county commissioner's office and the Cabinet police station. Appearing before Cabinet Resident Magistrate Samson Temo, the prosecutor requested for more time to conclude investigation. And finally, a family of a senior military officer is seeking justice at the Malindi Law Courts over the sudden death of their son who died under unclear circumstances at Medina Palms Hotel in Watamu in July 26 last year. Already, an inquest file was opened and police are investigating the death to establish the exact circumstances. The inquest was brought before Malindi Chief Magistrate Charles Mbogo for hearing, but lawyers from both parties requested for adjournment to give time to pursue the witness statements. The magistrate set the inquest for hearing on June 23rd and 24th. Jesse Rogers reporting for KUTV.
Well, with that county wrap, KUTV News now takes a short break, but do not touch that dial. We are coming back with sports, including the latest on water conflict. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back and join me to the world of sports. WADA has agreed to work with the Kenyan government to ensure the country is fully compliant with the anti-doping code. The two parties resolved to amend the clauses which are not compliant with the WADA, and has the President Uhuru Kenyatta assented to them. Foreign Affairs CS Ambassador Amina Mohamed said Kenya remained committed to resolving outstanding issues.
A delegation from Kenya is meeting the WADA representatives today. The team is going to review the decision by WADA's foundation to declare Kenya non-compliant. The high-level Kenya delegation and the WADA officials will amicably agree on the roadmap that will see Kenya full compliant with the WADA's code as soon as possible. After a long meeting today, the parties have come up with a roadmap to bring Kenya clean. Among other things, Kenya needs to adopt the negotiated amendments as agreed with WADA, as well as getting the presidential assent. Kenya is also among the 3 African countries to have come up with this type of legislation, providing a learning curve for others to follow from. Kome Kazungu, reporting for KUTV.
And Europa League, Liverpool are set to go head-to-head with Sevilla in the UEFA Europa League finals tonight. Jurgen Klopp, the inspirational manager, has brought his side and their fans together before the final against Sevilla, but he had expected nothing less when he came to Anfield. While Liverpool's official ticket allocation in Switzerland is only 10,000 tonight, a fraction of their potential support for the European final, Klopp is unlikely to find himself short of company at St. Jacob Park.
To add yet more memories to...
Liverpool fans appear to be in high spirit on Wednesday morning as they boarded the plane to Switzerland ahead of the Europa League final showdown with Sevilla. Jurgen Klopp will be aiming for the first piece of silverware, and the Reds will qualify for the Champions League should they win in the match tonight.
All of football, and Liverpool Football Club in particular.
Manager Jurgen Klopp will decide whether to bring on Jordan Anderson. Liverpool have won one final, beating Real Madrid in 1981 European Cup finals.
The 96 that went to a game of...
The team has never scored more than one goal away from Anfield this season. Kome Kazungu reporting for KUTV.
Chelsea striker Diego Costa was left out of Spain coach Vicente Del Bosque's provisional 25-man squad for Euro 2016 on Tuesday. The nationalized Brazilian missed Chelsea's last two games for the season due to a persistent hamstring injury and has struggled at international level with just one goal in 10 games since declaring to play for Spain in 2013. Meanwhile, Chelsea are set to dump Adidas for another deal with Nike. Kome Kazungu reports.
Manchester United Wayne Rooney netted his landmark 100 goal yesterday evening at the Old Trafford, with Marcus Rashford as well as Ashley Young striking, sealing the Europa League spot.
And Wayne Rooney. Valencia. Rashford. He is some talent. He's put his mark on.
And finally, the Blues are set to sign another sponsorship deal with Nike worth £60 million a year. The Blues have announced they'll be parting ways with Adidas at the end of the next season, terminating the initial 6-year deal. Despite all that, Chelsea will not be competing in Europe next season. Kome Kazungu reporting for KUTV.
Thank you very much, Kome Kazungu, for the ever-detailed sports news. That's it for tonight's bulletin. Thank you very much for choosing KUTV. Remember, our conversation tonight was on if you support NCCK's call for dialogue to end the IEBC stalemate, which is ongoing. Benjamin from Resambu says, yes, I do support, except I think theirs is the bigger role of preaching peace, to the masses to keep it peaceful. Thank you very much indeed for keeping me company at KUTV News at 9 tonight. I'm Corazon Safan. Do have yourself a wonderful night. See you again tomorrow.